Hello and welcome to the Art of Selling Online Courses, where we share winning strategies and secret hacks from top performers in the online course industry. My name is John Ainsworth, and today's guest is Calvin Coyles. Calvin's the CEO of Wild Success. He's a world-leading trainer, an author, and a coach in the area of personal transformation. He also helps people to become professional life coaches. And he supported 200,000 clients in over 80 countries. He's developed something called the Wild Method, which is a breakthrough way of producing results in people's lives. He's led training programs in over 50 countries for leaders and coaches and healers and athletes and business owners. He's become a self-made multimillionaire and has 3 best-selling books. So we're going to learn a lot from Calvin today. It's going to be cool. Before we start learning from him, I want to mention our sponsor. Today's sponsor is my company, Data Driven Marketing. We help online course creators to increase their revenue 20 to 100% through strategic funnel optimization. What we do is we delve into people's funnels, find the places where they are missing sales at the moment, help them to fix those and increase their revenue. So go to datadrivenmarketing.co/calculator to find out how much more you could be making from your course business. Calvin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, John. I was just writing down your website. I like it.
Well, while we were waiting to start, I went through your site and I found 2 places that I think you can make a bunch more money. So I'll tell you about them after the show.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We're all interested in making more money.
Talk to me about how did you get started in this? How did you first get going?
Great question. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me on the show, and also shout out to our mutual friend, Kim Barrett, for the introduction as well. It's a privilege. So for me, John, I started by doing effectively personal development seminars and workshops. I'm a bit of a seminar junkie. I found my passion and calling in that space. I was a 22-year-old aspiring life coach wanting to get started in that world. And I ended up flying and traveling to Bali to work with a guy I'd never met before, live with him and work for free for, at that point, it was meant to be a month, and it was 3 months and 6 months, a guy called Christopher Howard. Chris Howard, if you're familiar with NLP and coaching, was one of the world leaders in that space, equivalent of Tony Robbins, but Tony does personal development. Chris shows you how to use the tools that Tony does so well on stage. So I went and learned from Chris Howard. And I learned a technique, or a set of techniques, called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And it just blew my mind, because I was like, wow, this is really practical and it's really hands-on and it gets people amazing results. Why is this so expensive and takes so much time, energy, and effort for people to do this? And here I am, like a millennial. At that point, I'm 22, 23 years old. I'm thinking, if we could take this online, this would be unbelievable, So I come back in 2013, having worked for free for this guy for 6 months. I became his right-hand man, his head of operations globally, helping grow him a multi-million-dollar business again. And then I come back and start my first company. And we were doing live events. I wasn't doing a lot of stuff online at that point. Most of it was live events, in-person trainings, leveraging my background and experience. And then after a while, what we did was we then filmed those training programs and then turned them into online course curriculums, effectively online NLP training libraries. Proud to say we have the #1 selling online NLP coaching program in the world of its kind. And we launched that very first time. We launched that back in 2014, end of 2014. And that just went absolutely berserk, just ridiculous. I remember, this is a funny experience, we were talking about Kim Barrett before. So Kim at that time was working for me. He now runs his own company. And we're in Bali running a retreat, and we launched this online course. It's the first online course I've ever launched before. 2014, I'm in Bali, and we did a free NLP program, just paid for certification for $99. And we're lying around going, how much do you reckon we can make from this? Maybe we'll get 10 or 20 enrollments in a week. And I thought, wow, if we could make $2,000 US in a week online with no sales calls, no speaking to anybody, just purely from that funnel, that would pay for the whole trip that we're here in Bali. You can live like a king in Bali. And we turned it on, and this is no joke, although I feel like I could be an internet marketer with this story. We then go and end up we had booked a massage, right, for that time. We go and get a massage. We got all of our clients getting massages. We come back, and in the time that we'd had a massage, I think it cost us maybe like $300 to have everyone massaged. And we'd made something like $3,000 in that hour from when we turned the funnel on. And I think we ended up doing something like 26 sales in our first day. So we had $2,600 in our first day. And for me, doing events and seminars and workshops around the world, knowing how much time and money that costs, this was just out of this freaking world. And so that was my sort of first foray into online trainings. We've grown since then. We now have clients around the world. We make some good money and we change some lives. But that was how it all kicked off for me, which was just a crazy experience, a crazy story where you learn the value of funnels and online trainings.
And how did you feel with that? Were you like just delighted, or did it freak you out when that happened?
A bit of everything, right? Because at that point, we had kept everything pretty small in the sense that I was in Perth, Western Australia. So it's the most isolated capital city on the planet. We were running events and trainings at that point. Like I think Bali was my first overseas training that I'd run. So there I am doing some stuff in Perth and Melbourne, but we're quite small. No one really knew who Coyles was back then. And to be fair, most people still don't know now in the grand scale of things, but we've got obviously a market that we're known by. And so for me, I knew how much work went into trying to make somebody buy in a seminar environment. So for me, the idea of just running an ad and people seeing it and buying it and giving me money online without any of that work, I almost sold myself on that it wasn't possible because of how hard I was working. So you try to justify the hard work rather than the smart work. So that freaked me out a bit. But also as well, it's such an elating experience to, one, people around the world now are going to get to see and consume stuff. But two, we're now making money literally while I was getting a massage. So if we can just do that every day, then you're like, well, shit, the whole world's your oyster. And you don't have to work as hard and you can do all this extra stuff. And of course, you're not just making sales, but now you're acquiring customers and clients that I can then get to come and do all my other stuff. It was such a breakthrough experience for me. In our work, we talk about in order for you to go to the next level, whatever that looks like, you've got to have an I can do this moment. And for me, one of those was about a year or so later, but earlier than that, my first ever major event on my own. I had 40 people in the room, and I remember 20 people bought a program for me, $1,500 live from stage. Kim was one of the guys at that event, actually, and I made $30,000 in a Saturday. My best ever sales day was $586,000 in one day. And next weekend, we've got a big event. We'll probably break that again. But that's amazing. We've done $1 million in a month before. That was amazing. But the $30,000 on a Saturday, that was the breakthrough moment for me because I was like, now I know I can do this. And equally so, lying around that villa in Bali and doing $2,600 in online sales in one day, even though we'd done $100,000 sales days before, that one day online without speaking to anybody was a huge moment for me.
Nice. I've talked to quite a few friends recently who are friends and clients who, as they start to get more sales, it's like there's a whole emotional experience that goes on of like, oh, what if this carries on, then life is going to be amazing. Or what if this doesn't carry on? Oh my God, there's a whole set of stuff going on, emotions that go with it. That's really interesting hearing your experience.
And I think for a lot of people as well, John, you'll know this. I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make in any business, but particularly in online as well, is that they've got a program and a funnel that's working, but they don't spend enough money. So if you're spending $1 and you've got a ROAS of $4, or spend $2 and you'll have a ROAS of $8, right? Obviously, it's not always going to be consistent like that, but you shouldn't go from $1 to 10,000 necessarily. But you get the idea. If it's working and you're making money, don't let your emotions get in the way, scale it. And if you've got a business model where you've built your funnel properly, you can even afford to maybe even lose cash on the front end, depending on how you do it. But a lot of scalability is taking the emotion out of it and just looking at the data, which I think is probably a reason why you've done so well with the data-driven marketing that you've got, because you take the emotion out. I don't care if you like your ads. I don't care if people are not buying as much as they were last week. If it's still cash flow positive, spend more money and you're going to acquire more clients.
Absolutely. So what's the annual revenue at now for you guys? You told us kind of a few numbers so far. What are you doing overall?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of different companies, but the main company that we've got here at Wild Success does about $3 million. We're on track to do $3 million a year this financial year, and that'll probably sit somewhere around about $1.5 million in net profit.
Nice. Okay, cool. And how does it work? Someone gets through, where are you getting traffic in from? You mentioned that Facebook is kind of a big deal for you guys.
We pretty much predominantly rely on Facebook and Instagram marketing. So we do a lot of paid promotion through those platforms. We had a live events company that we used to do seminars and events, and then obviously COVID hit. We did have online work at that point as well, but it wasn't our main business. So when that happened, we lost $1.5 million overnight. We then pivoted everything and moved it online. And we've just now built all of our infrastructure digitally. And we had to rebuild our business March last year. So we're meant to go on the road. We can't run events. We've got a whole business and obviously got clients that are expecting live trainings. We shut that business down effectively. We rebuild it. It's still the same company, but effectively to rebuild everything about a year ago. And it's been the best thing ever happened to us because we just took everything online. We expanded globally. The margins are much better in digital training than they are in live. So that's real nice. Basically, the model that we have is the primary business. Let's just talk about the main business for now, is an NLP and coaching training academy. So we effectively train people on how to become coaches, right? So the client applies for an ad on Facebook and Instagram. We have a scholarship model where normally to do an NLP coaching program is normally about $5,000. We do a scholarship where we allow clients to apply, they complete an application form, and then we give them a deal where they can effectively, if we're talking Aussie dollars, it's $1,000 Australian. If you're in Britain, it's £500. It's a huge discount to join. They speak to a salesperson or a coach, they apply, and then they do an online training program with us called The Art of Coaching, which is a 6-week online course that they do with me and my head coach, Jason, live. There's a whole heap of other stuff in there. And then from there, the next step of the funnel is they join us for a master's program, which is like an advanced coaching credentials program, or they join us for a business incubator called Wild Launch, which is a 6-figure accelerator. And then from there, we have higher ticket programs like a mastermind or a mentoring program, coaches circle as well. So there's a couple of levels to it, but effectively ad, Facebook, Instagram, scholarship, masters or launch or a combination. That's pretty much the model.
And do you make money on the scholarship, or is that like a loss leader in order to get people into the whole of the rest of the program?
It's a good question. So we used to have it as a loss leader when it was an event, because by the time you put in the cost of running an event, it's prohibitive. But now, because it's digital, we make money on that. So what we try to do, our goal every month is effectively to try and make $100,000 a month just purely from the scholarships, which depending on what price point we're playing at, we've had months where we've sold, 200 plus people into the scholarship program. At the moment, our goal is to try and do 100 people at $1,000. So do effectively $100,000 a month, because that'll cover basically our operational costs. We'll run the whole business basically off that. And then the upgrades that we get from clients at our high ticket programs is where we'll make all of our profitability. So minimum would be about 2.5, but our goal is to do 3. We're on track to do that. And so then that would effectively cover the business model as part of that. So we do make money on the scholarships. It's not a lot of money, but it goes into enough to cover effectively the gross margin covers our operating costs.
Got it. And then with the masters and the higher level stuff that comes after, how much of that is digital? How much of that is calls? How much of it is one-to-one stuff? How does it work?
Yeah, so I love the interaction. I love the live connection and engagement from people. So we could definitely run it in an evergreen way. And we do have programs like that we run evergreen, but I like to run it live. So for the AOC program, the first level, the client gets 6 live sessions. We do effectively 6 intakes a year, so 6 live sessions over 6 weeks. They also get a Q&A session with Jason as well. That's also live. They get 3 one-on-one coaching sessions. And then they also get a video training library, which is pre-recorded content, which is more of your tools and techniques. Then the master's program is 12 weeks of live training, so live calls, Q&A sessions live as well. Then they also get a 4-day live event, and they can come to that live event. But if you're virtual, if you're global, we now sort of zoom you into it. So you can sort of attend it as a virtual ticket instead of the live ticket. So there are some components that are still physical. And part of that is, 1, we love doing it. But also, 2, when we had our old business model, we sold hundreds of people around the world to do live trainings that we haven't been able to run. So there is an element that out of integrity and also financial, we have to run these events because we promised them. In the future, though, we'll probably phase out from live events in terms of people in the room with us and just run everything as virtual summits effectively. But we try to run as much of it as possible virtually live. And the reason for that is, 1, I've got a passion for that. But 2, for me personally, I've found that you get a higher level of engagement in the online material the more that it's live. If I can access the training at any point in time, it's like 24-hour gyms. Yes, okay, great. It's going to work for that average person that maybe wants to train at an obscure time, but how many people are actually training at obscure times? You complain that you don't want to get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, but you're not training at any time in the day unless you get up for the PT. So for us, we like to have people on it live. We have a better engagement. And for us, the goal is to change their life, to give them the tools. And also we know if they finish the program, we've got a chance to upgrade them. If they don't finish the program, they're probably not upgrading. So it works economically for us as well to put more resources in as well as part of that.
So I think you said a couple of things there that I see most course creators struggle to get their head around. So I really want to dig into them. One is that you have more expensive programs. Most course creators that I talk to have the cheap, digital only, no interaction, no Q&A programs. And I get that as a model because some people just don't want to do the interaction. They don't want to do the talking with people. They just want to create stuff online and share it. But in terms of as a business model, it misses out on this enormous percentage of people who want the more premium experience, who is willing to pay more for. I don't know if you've ever played around with it, but Perry Marshall has a tool called 80/20 Calculator. I think it's just 80/20calculator.com. And you go there and you put in, right, got this many people are buying something for this much money from us. What percentage of them would also spend this much money? So you put in the additional amount and it tells you, okay, probably if you have the right offer and it's at that price and you offer it in the right way, then you'll make about this much money from having that. And it's generally reasonably accurate. It's kind of based on the 80/20 curve. And it shows you, okay, this percentage of people would be willing to spend 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. You can compare it with if you go to back in the days when you could go to sports events, go to watch the football, how many people are going to just get the ticket? How many are also going to buy a bunch of beers? How many are going to get an executive box? All the way up from the cheap to the very expensive. And most people, I think, are missing on this. And this is basically all the profit for your business is coming from doing this. So your business wouldn't work without this. And most people just aren't doing it. So I think the idea of that is huge. What was it that allowed you to get that model? Is it because you'd worked with this other guy previously and you'd seen that kind of that's the model and that's how it works?
Yeah, it was. But also as well, if you look at the biggest businesses in the world, it's just inherent in the way that they do business. Yeah. So, most people have been to Disneyland before, and we were in the US just before COVID happened, actually. And, you pay a lot of money to go to Disneyland. But when you look at the business of Disney and the theme parks, they don't make money on the entry tickets.
Yeah.
They break even effectively, maybe even lose money day to day on the entry tickets, but they make money from the gifts and the merchandise and the food and the shows and stuff. That's how Disney makes money. And they make billions of dollars in profit from that experience. Yeah. So we'd all love to be in a position where you just lay on a beach and you sold programs and didn't speak to anybody, but it's probably boring. And for me, Chris's model, who I was sort of studied under, Chris used to do an event which was called Wake Up Rich Live. And he also had as well the Breakthrough to Success event. And he would put 5,000 to 10,000 people in a free event on the front end. So when they walked through the doors, you think about the marketing costs for that. And even when you're doing email lists as well, joint venture partners, just even the venue hire, he would walk through the door and have to make the better part of about $300,000. Doors open. That's cash sunk cost into running the event. And so you're giving away that much value on the hope that you get the people to show up and that you can do a compelling offer, right? So when you're doing that, you're going to have to do a lot of work anyway to get people, to get traction, to get scalability. And so with that in mind, you probably don't have to do it if you don't have a team. If you've just got you and you're creating programs, you can probably get away with just selling a front-end course and not doing anything else. But we've got 14 staff. So, we've got to make enough money to make that all work. You've got to have scalability with that model. So for me, it's just been inherent. I've always wanted to give so much value on the front end, but then create a desire to do more. And here's the big thing. I don't think people get this bit. When you solve problems for people, you create new problems. Let's look at a coach, right? And we look at the client pathway. Well, someone that goes from being, oh yeah, maybe I could do a coach, and people have told me that I should do coaching and I'd be quite interested in that, all the way to someone that's a successful coach, changing lives, making a heap of money. There's a couple of stages. One is sort of getting their sort of appetite, right? Getting their feet wet, understanding, do I have what it takes? Then you've got, I'm going to be professional at this. Then you've got making money from this. So coaching does a really great job of that first bit for a client. It's not designed just to give them a little bit. It's designed to be a full main meal. But on that, they go, well, I've done that. I've loved that. And I'm ready to take it seriously now that I've got a bit of confidence and self-belief. Now I want to become a master coach. Now I want to get coaching clients. Now I want that experience. Great. Do masters. Now I've done that. Now I've got confidence and experience and I know I've got what it takes. Now I want to leave my job and start a business and I want to become a six-figure coach. Great. Do launch. Now I've got my business to 6 figures, Calvin, I want to take it to $1 million. Great, do business mentoring. So the extension of the ladder is really looking at the client's development and their life cycle and where are they going next in that journey. As you solve a problem, you create new ones and you go through that process. It's the obvious next step that they would do more. And if you believe that people spending more time and money with you improves their lives, it's your duty to do more.
I think for everyone listening, if you're thinking, hey, this sounds cool, but that sounds like an enormous change from where I'm at the moment, I've got an idea, I've got a technique that you can apply in most online course businesses and get results within about a day and start to see a significant increase in revenue. So it's the simplest application of this idea is that you put an upsell available for people who've just bought something from you. So you have a checkout page, someone buys something, on the next page, offer them something else, probably more expensive, could be something complimentary that they can just get straight away. And somewhere between 15 and 30% of people will buy that additional product. It will increase your revenue significantly. I helped someone the other day. He was making $30,000 a month. He applied this one idea and he told me he thinks now he's added another $10,000 a month. I'm like, okay, cool. That is the simplest thing that everybody should just put into place. And yeah, it's very, very reliable, works very, very well. The second thing that you mentioned that I wanted to dig back into was that you said, if people don't finish your programs, they're not going to buy the next one. And this is something where I see people go wrong a lot, is that there's lots of stuff in place sometimes to get people to buy, but not to get them to complete. And so a simple consumption sequence is a kind of a minimum starting point, but it sounds like you've got an enormous amount in there to help people to kind of finish going through that program. Could you dig into that a little bit for us?
Yeah, it's so important, right? I think everyone thinks that the sale is over when you've made the sale. It's not. You've got to now sell somebody on why they're going to show up every day and do your training programs or complete it, right? We live in a culture where most people are happy to get started and stuff. I've done this myself, by the way, which is why I love live events, because you get it done. But when you're in a virtual environment, it's so easy to buy a program and not complete it. And it doesn't really even matter about the price point. People do it at all sorts of different price points. For me, our model is built on having clients continue the journey from it. If you just look at it from an impact perspective, there's no value in your contribution to the planet of having somebody purchase a program that doesn't do anything with it. And actually, when you think about it as a long-term business strategy, it's really dangerous, because if I buy a program from you, John, and I don't do anything with it, I go and speak to my friend and they say, oh, hey, I'm looking into a program with John. I go, oh, I did that, but I didn't do anything with it. I don't say to the friend, I didn't sign into the calls. I don't say I didn't log in. Don't say I got distracted. I just say I bought it and nothing happened. So then they go, oh, there must be something wrong with the program. There's nothing wrong with the program. Just I was demotivated. I was overwhelmed. I was procrastinating, whatever, but it doesn't lead to a great experience. So if you're in this for the long haul, you want clients that are raving fans. You want clients that had a great experience. You want clients that have completed the program. And, when I get on the phone to somebody and they say, I've done all this stuff and nothing happened for me, I know enough to know it's probably on them that they didn't do it. But on the same token, I go, well, that person doesn't have accountability engagement sequences. So for me, engagement is probably one of the most underestimated or underappreciated metrics and models in business, because just because you can make a sale doesn't mean anything. Because also, if someone's disengaged, the chance of refund requests goes up, the complaints go up, the email bullshit goes up. If you can get people to engage and connect and finish programs, then you've got every chance to create raving fans, testimonials, reviews, referrals, future sales. We're experiencing this right now in COVID. We got an event coming up in Brisbane next week. No restrictions in Australia. We can travel pretty much anywhere we want. No problems in getting people to the event. But we're still now selling people that have paid for a program, that we're delivering a program to come along to the program. We could have, the better part of 300 people live in this seminar over 2 days with us. At the moment, we've got about 150. So it's like, it's not enough just to go, hey, you've purchased, come along. No, you got to sell them. And it's easier to do that as you get a better brand. Like, I'm sure Beyonce doesn't have to do a hard job of getting people to come to her concerts that have bought tickets, but I am not Beyonce. So for me, it's all about engagement. It's about building that energy, keeping people motivated. I think that's important in business. It's also just important in behavioral change. If you're going to make changes in people's lives, let's be honest, you could go to YouTube and probably learn most of the stuff that people have got in their online courses, but you don't, because you're not engaged and you're not accountable. So it's just got to be part of that. And here's a great question. This will change the whole mindset. It's a higher standard, but it'll change the whole mindset. If I only got paid based off clients completing the program or based off client results, what would my course have to look like to get paid? And so then you're, oh shit, I only got paid based off results. Okay, well, I got to change everything. And then, by the way, if you do, and that's your standard, well, then now the game starts to change. Now you've got a phenomenal program. Now you've got a course or a curriculum that is so outstanding that people go, this is ridiculous, because you've set the standard way above everybody else.
Nice. Nice. I love that. That's really cool. So going back a stage, when someone's on your email list, they've come through Facebook ad and they got onto your email list, what kind of promotions do you do to get people in the first place? Are you doing webinars? Are you doing email promotions? How does it actually work to get someone to make that first purchase?
Great question. So we've got quite a direct strategy with our scholarships. So our clients will see an ad on Facebook for the scholarship. It's a very simple 2-part funnel. They'll see a landing page with me with a video sales letter explaining the opportunity. They'll apply. They'll go to the second page. There's a thank you page there. That's got an embedded booking link so they can book in for a call with their coach, and also an embedded form to complete as well before the call with the coach. So that does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. You know, we also have a couple of other things that we do to supplement that and just to mix up the marketing message a little bit. We actually relaunched that offer I was telling you about before, the $99 NLP program. So we were running that as a Black Friday special from Black Friday last year until early January. And that was effectively free NLP program, just pay for certification at $99 US. And we had a great funnel in that system. We had $99 program, the client paid, then they go to the next page. We had an upgrade. So once they purchased, we had then a one-time only offer. The one-time only offer, I think, and just remembering from the top of my head, I think the one-time only offer was to then join us for our live training as a $100 extra payment plus 5 more payments of $100, which effectively is the same as our scholarship. If they purchased that, we had another upgrade, which is a small business program that we ran as well. We also had some downsells as well. And by the way, you're so spot on in getting that funnel put in place. It's the difference between the funnel being profitable and not. You know, all of the revenue and the volume that we get, the profitability comes on the second, third, fourth sale, not in the first sale. The first sale just cash liquidates. All the other sales is what makes the difference in the funnel, right? So we have the $99 special. We also do as well a NLP breakthrough training. So we do a 5-day program called 5-Day NLP and Coaching Challenge. It's a free 5-day challenge. People register, they go through that as well. We have run webinars in the past, and obviously in Australia where we can, we'll run live events. But the scholarship does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. We've got that pretty well dialed in now, and we just scale through a sales team. But my normal go-to will be a 5-day challenge if I'm wanting to supplement the numbers, unless I'm going to get on stage personally, which is difficult to do at the moment. So that's normally what we do.
Gotcha. And what size is your email list now?
We curate it pretty aggressively. We don't want people on there that's not going to be working for us. So I think at the moment, we probably have somewhere around about 25,000, I would say. But we've just moved to a system called Go High Level. We were with Zoho. And before that, we were with Active Campaign. So when we were with Active Campaign, we just left a lot of people over. We only brought the people that have engaged. In Zoho, we've got a substantial amount more than that, but we've only moved people into Go High Level that have re-engaged with any of our material from Zoho. So effectively, we still promote via Zoho, but then if they engage, they get moved to Go High Level. Otherwise, they stay off that list.
Gotcha. Nice. Man, that's been amazing. That's awesome. I feel like there's some incredible insights for people from this. One question that people have asked me to ask you was, what kind of changes did you need to make along the way as your revenue grew? Like, when was it that you started hiring a team, for example?
Well, I'm probably not the best person to ask that, just from the perspective that we've had an events company. So running an events company, you have to have a team rather than an online business, right? But for me, there's a couple of reasons to bring a team on board. One is obviously because you've got subject matter expertise that you just don't have. But also two is, let's be honest, as much as we all want to live this sort of vagabond laptop lifestyle, be location independent, unless you run that business with your significant other, or you happen to just have some ball of friends, it's going to be a brutally boring life, because no one else that you know is going to live that life. And I've heard Tim Ferriss talk quite a bit about this as well, which is why you have people that, you know, cluster in places like Bali, for example, because they go, well, all the nomads come together, right? I imagine it's the same across Europe as well, or the US. So for me, I think there's value in just having friendships and companionship across the way. I mean, for me, there's a great quote that I got from an early mentor. He says, I only do the things that only I can do. And for me, what I believe I'm put on the planet to do is speak and to share and educate, and that fuels me. So anything that's not that is a waste of my talent, waste of my time, waste of my energy. And I'll be better off finding people that have those things. And that might not be a core team, that might be an outsourced person, But I'm also quite an extrovert, as you can tell. I'm quite outgoing. I love the interaction with people. As much as I'm valuable and appreciate the ability to connect with you face to face in this environment, I'd much rather be over a coffee or a cocktail or something face to face. So for me, I enjoy having a team that I can connect with and bounce ideas and pitch and catch with as well. I've always been stimulated by that. So there's more than just a business case to be made from having people on board. And that might be, if you're a course creator, an entrepreneur, a teacher and educator, that might just be having a networking group. That might be having a mastermind group. That might be having an advisory group of people that are doing similar things. That's also very, very important, equally important as having staff.
So if people want to learn more about your courses, then they can go to wildsuccess.global. But
That's
you
correct.
also mentioned that you've got some guides on scaling the business. People could get in touch with you about it. How does that work?
Yeah, so we were on Facebook and Instagram, etc. If you go to Instagram, which is just at Calvin Coyles on Instagram, you'll see me on there as well. In our link tree, we've got a variety of different things. But if you shoot me a DM, we've got a program we put together, which was a 5-day course on free 5-day challenge on how to create 5-day challenges and make money from them. So it's called How to Make 20K a Week with Online Courses. So we've got a free guide around that. I show you how to pull it together. We give you an example of it. There's templates and downloads. It's a free gift for anyone that would like to learn how the strategy that we use to grow our business and our model. So if you shoot me a DM or send me an email to calvin@wildsuccess.global, I'll make sure the team gets that sent out to you. And if anyone wants to become a coach or learn NLP and wants a scholarship, we can hook you up with one of those as well. So just reach out and connect any way that you want.
Outstanding. Thanks so much, Calvin. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, John.
If you found this interview useful, please give us a review wherever you listened. Come join the Advanced Online Course Creators group on Facebook, and you'll get early access to these interviews and support with growing your online course sales. Thanks, everybody, and talk to you next time.